In recent years, the federal government made major infrastructure investments across the country to improve water, transportation, and energy systems, land and resource management, and more. How well did these investments link to workforce development and job placement activities? Martha Ross, Senior Fellow at Brookings Metro, investigated.
What we concluded was that with some exceptions, these laws actually did very little to strategically advance workforce development as a component of infrastructure and climate investments.
In this video, Martha Ross presents her findings, and Sean Hughes of the California Opportunity Youth Network moderates a discussion with infrastructure and workforce experts.
Martha thoroughly reviewed the investments and projects the federal government directed to California through two major federal laws, the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act and the Inflation Reduction Act.
Biggest picture finding is that the federal government sent thousands of grant awards to organizations in the state of California, and it totaled $61.5 billion. That is a lot of money. Here's an illustration of how infrastructure doesn't mean one thing, it means many things. You can really understand infrastructure as a super sector of multiple different sectors together relating to the built environment. So what you'll see here is that roads and bridges account for the largest share of the money, nearly 40% of all of the awards. There's also public transportation, water systems, clean energy and power, and so on. Awards went to a huge number and variety of organizations. The state bodies include Caltrans, the California Energy Commission, the State Water Resources Control Board, the Public Utilities Commission. Then there are a few different types of local governments here. There are groups like LA Metro, Bay Area Rapid Transit, Sacramento Regional Transit District that are special district governments that have a limited specific purpose. Their other special district governments are water districts, air quality districts. There are also what are called general purpose governments, what most people just call local, like county or city government, like City of LA, City of San Francisco, LA County, and so on. These are the entities that decide whether and how to include workforce development activities in their projects. Think about the entities that I've mentioned in this webinar who manage and govern transportation, energy, water, land management, air quality systems. I've talked about Caltrans, the California Energy Commission, ports, utilities, water districts. These are all state and local bodies. They provide most of the funding for their own operations, whether through earned revenue or general funds or taxes or debt instruments like bonds. And they have the most control over planning, designing, and implementing infrastructure projects, not to mention ongoing operations and maintenance. So for instance, LAX has a $30 billion capital improvement program. The LA Department of Power and Water has a $7 billion plan to upgrade its water systems. State and local actors are really important players. What we concluded was that with some exceptions, these laws actually did very little to strategically advance workforce development as a component of infrastructure and climate investments. They allow workforce development activities in many cases, but rarely require them. And they mostly sidelined the Department of Labor and the public workforce system and the apprenticeship system, the Department of Education and career and technical education and community colleges. The people who really know workforce development did not have a clear or automatic mechanism to connect with the people who were receiving the infrastructure dollars. It was a real gap.
The California Municipal Utilities Association represents 86 publicly owned electric and gas utilities and water and wastewater agencies throughout the state. The utility sector often operates under the radar. A lot of folks take for granted that they can turn on the tap and water flows or start up, the heater, turn on their lights and they work. So it's It's really, there's two factors. There's awareness of the effort that goes into providing reliable services and also the opportunities that exist to be employed by utilities. Utility jobs really go from everything to water treatment operators or line workers, to accountants, to communications experts, to engineers. So the awareness of the jobs is a major workforce challenge. We have members that dedicate a lot of time and resources to educating kids, but schools often don't automatically highlight the water and energy sector as a good job or good jobs, in particular for students who may not want to go to a four-year college. And because of this lack of awareness and other factors, there's simply a challenge with not having enough workers to fill the gaps.
The Utilities Academy is an earn and learn pipeline where they identify people through these collaborative partnerships with community-based organizations to identify people that are underrepresented in the water workforce, attract them, and present the opportunities that are being offered here at the Utilities Department. The opportunities that are offered through that department, there's a little bit of career exploration work where they have information sessions to give a little bit more insight or a look behind the scenes. And the hope is that, well, they're also in that space where they're getting that hands-on practical experience. There's also a big investment in soft skill development, also development and training around basic skills related to arithmetic and writing, where they are then competitive to apply for the civil service classification. There's a lot of pull around exam readiness and eventual permanent placement. Most folks are placed. It's not just a temporary exposure to the job. A lot of folks change jobs.
I would say there is a lot of opportunity for young people in the water and energy sectors. Like I was talking about earlier, individuals don't have to have a college degree in order to get a lot of these great jobs, especially the technical positions, line workers, water operators, even some of the lower level, entry level positions. You can have a community college degree. So it does open up a world of opportunities.
Workforce, education, and youth-serving organizations can build and strengthen relationships with state and local infrastructure agencies. They can also articulate their value to those in control of infrastructure dollars and help them act more strategically in recruiting, training, hiring, and retaining workers. It's best to focus on combining paid work experience with skill building.